Hi, hello, and welcome back to another video. The other day, I heard someone say, I want to become a knitting influencer and I want to make money with my knitting content. And immediately I felt an ache creep up on me. Now, before you think this video is just me hating on influencers, no. I know influencing is work. Editing videos, planning content, dealing with brands chasing invoices, none of that is nothing. I do recognize that the work of influencers of course has value. I do enjoy this content myself. I do make this content myself. But that's exactly why I want to take a closer look at that ick today. Not to ruin anyone's fun, but because I would like to draw attention to some nuance that isn't talked about very much in this space, and I want to help all of us get rid of that ick. So reason number one why I sometimes get the ick is that the very existence of influencers is built on a system of inequality. Like, I get it, making money from your online presence seems fun. It does sound like a dream. Working on your own time, doing cool brand partnerships, attending events, just being your own boss and working in your own pace. But here's the thing. Wanting to be an influencer doesn't by any means make you a bad person. It just does reveal some shortcomings in self-reflection, in my opinion. And that doesn't make you a bad person. What are these shortcomings, you wonder? Logically and economically, for you to become an influencer, you need an audience of people who are not influencers. Therefore, wanting to become an influencer is giving, I want to have a comfortable life in this profession while I want others not to have it. And sure, not everybody wants to be an influencer. I have a corporate job, my job is easy, it pays well. Would I rather get paid a lot more to just have a personality online? Yes, absolutely. And lots of people love the jobs they have. Lots of people don't. Some people don't have a job and are just struggling. But don't all of these people yearn for a more comfortable life? I would argue yes. And sure, being an influencer does have its challenges, but would you rather fight with brands to get your invoices paid on time? Or would you rather spend 8 hours on your feet seeing people suffer, like nurses, firefighters, and medics do? Would you rather take basic internet precautions so that your fans don't find out where you live? Or scrub toilets every day, knowing that your life will never get more comfortable no matter how hard you work? I'm obviously not hating on anybody who wants a better life. I'm aware that probably quite a few of these aspiring influencers are genuinely looking for financial stability. My point is that this dream is often voiced without looking at the structures that make it possible. I wish that more people would question the mechanics of the system and think about how to gain profit responsibly, not just for themselves. And speaking of inequality, that naturally leads me to reason number two. Many aspiring influencers seem like they aren't doing this because they're critically thinking about our system of work and income. They kind of talk a lot about wanting free yarn. So you all know the line probably, I want to receive free yarn and if my followers don't like the product, they don't have to buy it. But I do always ask myself, why does stuff always have to be free? Most of the people I see expressing these influencer ambitions are financially stable enough to spend at least a little money on their hobbies. I'm sorry to say it like this, but you're not entitled to limitless resources, no matter how much you love your hobby. And what really sticks out to me here is the super fancy yarn brands that most of us don't have the budget for. Spin Cycle Yarns, Cardiff Cashmere. They don't even send PR to influencers. They focus on working with knitwear designers. It's often brands with more inexpensive products, giving them away for free to influencers. And I'm not saying that you can't genuinely like cheaper yarns, but it leads me to wonder, at its core, it seems to me that wanting constant free materials isn't about easing the financial burden of a hobby. It's probably about accumulating more than you actually need, which is just overconsumption. The cabinets and shelves and bins full of often inexpensive big box store yarns have just become a monument of your overconsumption. And let's be real, if you can't afford any hobby supplies at all, I would argue that you also cannot afford to work on your content for 20 hours a week or more because you're just too busy fighting for your livelihood. So I would like to reiterate, I'm not saying being an influencer is inherently unethical. Influencers work in entertainment. Humans like to be entertained. It adds value to our lives. It makes the hard parts more bearable, and I do recognize that. I enjoy that content myself. But the thing for me is that the dream of becoming an influencer is often voiced by people who are already privileged. And sometimes they don't fully see it. They want to further their privileges, sometimes not acknowledging that they're already in a very good place compared to many others. And yes, I do see many influencers expressing gratitude for their community and the stuff they get. Gratitude is nice. We like gratitude. But being grateful doesn't change the fact that others are still struggling. Should nobody ever be grateful for anything then? Shut the fuck up, that's not what I'm saying. Number 3 of the things that give me an ick is when somebody says, I want to increase my reach because I want to build a community. Do you really? Here's the thing. A lot of knitting content creators, especially on YouTube, say they're grateful for the knowledge and the tips that their viewers share in the comments. And they're right, that is immense value. But what does the content creator actually contribute except the entertainment factor? Sure, obviously some of them share their own insights, their own knowledge, which can be helpful. But many knitting podcasts, which are one of the most common formats, they're not heavily research-based. They're just the creator's own experiences from a single point of view. And yes, these perspectives can be immensely valuable. But meanwhile, the tips from the community come from thousands of different people with all kinds of experiences. Purely in numbers, that collective knowledge is far more valuable than any single creator's insight, especially when it's condensed into one comment section like that. Now, don't get me wrong, creator work does matter. Editing, researching, curating content, moderating comments, all of that takes real effort. And some creators go even further, giving shoutouts, linking to community projects, donating money, doing Patreon rewards. That's important and that does add value to a community. But for me, there's still an imbalance. All that work from the community often ends up furthering a creator's reach and revenue. Yes, the content is shared. Yes, people can read it as much as they want. But the economic benefit disproportionately favors the creator. And to circle back, I think a community only works if it is mutual. You can enjoy a video purely for entertainment, that's fine. But the system becomes skewed if the creator profits far more from the collective than the audience that provides that value does. Which I guess is how the economy works. To me, there's just a huge cognitive dissonance when someone says they want to build a community And their actions point towards the fact that it's mostly for profit and for making it about themselves, not for the actual community aspect. Also, writing a comment to you as a viewer might not seem like much. But at the end of the day, the entirety what you as an audience contribute in the comments under my videos is in most cases far more valuable than anything in the videos that I produce. And that's okay. Just, I think it needs to be acknowledged more. I personally think creators who say that they're all about community should put a priority on distributing the value that their community generates. And they should distribute that value fairly and tread with a lot of caution in said community. Speaking of treading with caution, I hear so many aspiring creators say, "It's so sad that it's cringe to be trying." No, don't be a baby. It's not cringe to try. I love it when people try, when they pursue their passions, when they're learning and experimenting. Posting your first video, sharing your first project, all of that takes courage. That's very brave. And I'm pretty sure I'm not alone in this sentiment. What is cringe to me though is when people try without reflecting on the advantages that they already have. When the attempt comes without asking, who benefits from this? Am I taking advantage of my audience? Am I using my platform responsibly? Cringe also happens when there's zero awareness of the structures behind the dream. Trying is great. Ignoring the structural advantage that you already have, that's where the cringe comes in. So yes, please try, grow your audience, profit off of the work that you put into your social media. Work towards making your dream a reality, but please do it with awareness. That to me is the difference between inspiring and cringe. So to wrap this up, I'm not saying wanting to become an influencer makes you a bad person. If you take anything from this video, please let it be that how you pursue your ambitions matters. Being aware of privilege, thinking about who benefits and who might be left behind is as important here online as much as it is in the real world. But I'm sure you already know that. Therefore, in the spirit of lessening the imbalance in profit between you, the audience, and me, the creator, I'm not going to ask you to do something for me. In fact, I'm going to ask you to not leave a hateful comment on this video if you thought my points were stupid and I'm a condescending bitch. Because I make money off of every rude and hateful comment that I get. Just so you know. Just kidding. I would still really love to hear your opinions in the comments. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you next time. Bye!